You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to giving you the inside scoop on what's happening on the lakes and waterways of our region, with a primary focus on Sam Rayburn and Toledo Bend. Your hosts, V&M Baits General Manager Kevin Jean and Camus Boats Pro Staffer Steve Graff. Two guys with years of tournament experience with Pro-Am circuits like ABA, BFLs, Toyota Series, and B.A.S.S. Opens. Anglers willing to share their knowledge and to give you inside information to make you a better angler. So get ready to take some notes and learn exactly how anglers are catching the big stringers right here on Tackle Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
Welcome to Tackle Talk Live. I'm Camus Boats Pro Staffer Steve Graff, along with V&M General Manager Kevin Jean. And Kevin, today we're going to visit with one of our own, our very own Kevin Jean, as he gives us a preview of Toledo Bend and how it's going to fish this week for the B.A.S.S. Central Open, going out of Cypress Bend Park. We'll also wrap up the ABA Race Scott National Championship on Red River, and we're going to take a look at lake level reports, upcoming tournaments today, and all this on Tackle Talk. You had a good week last weekend.
We did. I did. Had a good week. Had a great Easter break. Hope everybody out there had a great Easter. I went to Toledo. I fished the benefit tournament on Saturday. Mr. Philip Strahan put on. Me and my partner Travis Merritt. We had 16 pounds or so. You know, some good sacks. Weighed in Toledo Bend last weekend. Had 24 pounds won it. 22 pounds was second, or 21 and a half was second. But Steve, you know, I really wanted to jump into the Bassmaster Open on Toledo Bend this week and what these guys are going to expect, what we're going to see, and the different options these guys are going to have to fish this thing. We kind of kept going back and forth on, you know, what guests to have on the show to kind of talk about it and highlight the Open, but everybody was either busy with a trip and didn't have any signal. Right. A lot of our guys are off practicing for other tournaments, or they're in the Open and don't want to talk right now. So we're just, me and you is going to talk about this kind of and what we expect. And then on the show next week, hopefully have the champion on, the winner, and kind of see where they went with what we talk about today.
Right. And also on my end, I'll kind of wrap up the ABA Race Scott National Championship on Red River. I was a participant in that event. Didn't turn out the way I was hoping it would, but hey, it's bass fishing, and it's just one of those things that hey, you just kind of learn to live with it. I'm glad I got a tournament this weekend to get that bad taste out of my mouth, and I'm looking forward to going to Sam Rayburn for the ABA Open Series. That's tournament event number 3 for the Southeast Texas division, so I'll be covering that as well. But all this and so much more today on Tackle Talk Live, and real quick, we're going to take a quick short break to recognize a few of our great sponsors. You're watching Tackle Talk Live.
Toledo Health is a full-service primary and acute care clinic. Nurse practitioners Jarrett Rule and Melissa Vines bring quality health care that's needed and convenient to the area. Whether it's a stomach virus or a hook in your hand, Toledo Healthcare will try and meet all your healthcare needs. Appointments available and walk-ins are always welcome. So the next time you're feeling down at Toledo Bend, stop by Toledo Healthcare, located on Highway 6, just south of Toledo Town, or you can call 318-508-5323. For all your boating needs, check out Shreveport's newest marine dealer, The Boat Shop. Raymond Kidd and his great staff will take care of all your engine repair needs or anything else that needs fixing. A certified Yamaha Mercury dealer, they carry 2 of the best fishing boats on the market from Sea Arc and Camus. The Boat Shop is never short on trade-ins, as they're always willing and able to make you the best deal possible. Looking for great boat accessories? They're a full support Garment and Minn Kota dealer. So the next time you're in the market for a new or used boat, or maybe you just need to service the boat you have, let the Boat Shop fix you up. To learn more, call 318-402-0399 or go to ShreveportBoatShop.com. The next time you're on I-49 just south of Natchitoches, Louisiana, stop by Cypress Knee Outdoors. A store within a store, Cypress Knee is located inside 3J's four-way. Whether you need gas, food, or drinks, they have it. While you're there, check out Cypress Knee Outdoors and pick up whatever hunting or fishing tackle you need. Top name brands like Strike King, Santones, Pro, or the #1 soft plastics made, V&M. On the hunting side, they carry guns from Mossberg, Winchester, and Remington. Plus, they've got a great supply of ammunition. Let John Abram and his staff show you everything Cypress Knee has to offer. Located just 1 mile east of 127 on I-49 or call 318-238-HUNT. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
You're watching Tackle Talk Live. Thank you for tuning us in. This segment presented by Toledo Health, the Boat Shop, and 3J's 408 home of Cypress Knee Outdoors. Once again, if you're heading up I-49, heading for Toledo Bend, or maybe you're heading over to Sam Rayburn, Cane River, anything up in this neck of the woods. Red River, there's a lot of events fixing to take place on Red River, major events coming out of NACA this year with B.A.S.S. and the college series and high school fishing and a lot of stuff going out of NACA over the next few weeks. Cypress Knee Outdoors has everything you'll want as far as bait and tackle. They can take care of all your needs right there. Exit 127 off I-49 on the east side of I-49. So, all right, Kevin, Toledo Bend. You were there this weekend, you and Travis, and said you had around 16 pounds. But how's that going to shape up for this week for these guys? How's the lake fishing? Is it are there still spawners, or can guys go out there and find pre-spawn fish, or is that kind of done?
Steve, here's the thing, and when I say literally, you can do anything you want to do on Toledo Bend right now and catch fish and catch a good bag if you find the right place. Mm-hmm. The Open this weekend is going to be very, very interesting because of everything that will come into play. If this was Sam Rayburn later in the year, whatever, a lot of times we say brush piles or grass or, so on and so forth. Literally everything is in play at Toledo Bend. You can catch a big bag out deep. You can catch a big bag out of the grass. You can catch a big bag looking at them potentially, maybe a little bit of a shad spawn. But so let's talk Toledo Bend. Let's talk the past week of what has happened and what has went down on Toledo Bend. We got a cold snap last week. And it came in pretty hard. It got cool. We had a whole bunch of rain came in. Steve, I think they have over 5 inches at Toledo Bend. Yeah. At Pendleton Bridge, right there, friends I know in the area, they had over 5 inches of rain that came in Thursday and Friday. Okay. And the SRA did not generate Thursday, Friday, and Saturday was not generating. So it came up 1.5 feet, almost 2 feet, 1.5 feet. So Toledo Bend did Friday and Saturday. About midday Saturday, they start generating. They got two generators open for open right now, running 24/7. So my thought is, and again, I fished a little small fundraising tournament on the lake Saturday, and so the water's coming up. My first thought is these fish, especially these northern fish that want to go up in the bushes, they're moving up. And I know a lot of guys caught them that way, caught some good bags on Saturday in the bushes, up shallow, because the fish moved up with the water, and they was not pulling the water down. We caught our fish we threw several different things. We threw a chatterbait in the grass. We caught them like 4 or 5 different ways. I caught a 5-pounder on a Carolina rig on a point. Then caught about 3.5 out of the grass, throwing a chatterbait. So, there was nothing just rhyme or reason or exact thing we were doing we caught our 16 pounds. And, again, we got like 10th place out of 50 boats or so with 16 pounds. They caught them. They caught them pretty dang good, But again, so going back to saying where I was going with this is you had all this stuff happen Thursday, Friday, Saturday. These guys started practicing on Saturday, the Open guys. And so now they're still generating 24/7, pulling water, which I think is going to make a deep bite happen a little bit for this Open. You've got the grass fish. You still got some fish, in my opinion, that are probably spawning. You got a lot of post spawners that are feeding up on shad. So again, Steve, I don't know where this thing's going to be won from. It can be won from the bank. It can be won in that mid depth. It can be won from out deep. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out.
You know, what you know, when you talk about the bushes, of course, right now, if I'm a guy over there, I may be a little leery about committing to the bushes because when they pull the water out on that north end, it's going to, them fish are leaving. They're not going to be there. You can have them there today and they're gone tomorrow. So probably the bushes aren't something you want to probably commit to, is it?
Probably not if they don't stop generating. Again, the tournament don't start till Thursday. So I was shocked last week that they wasn't generating in the middle of all this rain. They didn't generate Thursday, Friday, and only started midway through Saturday. So if they stop generating, I think they'll play. Them fish want to be up there. They have not had a chance, especially on the northern end. Those fish have not had a chance to get up in the bushes and feed and like they want to. Because I'm telling you, Saturday, them fish, when there was no generating going on, the water hasn't started moving yet, and all that fresh rain we got, the fish ran up shallow. We caught a lot of fish up there doing that. Again, I caught fish doing anything you want to do on Toledo in this time of year. I did that Saturday, and I caught fish doing it. Caught some good ones doing it. But yes, if they keep generating, you're right. That's going to keep sucking the water out of the bushes, and I feel like those fish will back off, definitely.
You know, so really, I guess from water stability wise, the south end, south of Highway 6 Bridge probably would be the area. I would feel like right now going into this tournament that I would feel more confident in committing to that end of the lake than I would on the north end. I think. Well,
the thing about up north now is it's like the south end as far as the grass. The bushes are a major player up there, but also on that north end, Steve, when you take the fish out of the bushes, you put them in the drains and you put them on the points, and that kind of groups them up a little bit more on that north end. So I'm not taking the north end out of play here, especially with the grass up around that blue lake area. There's going to be some sacks come out of the open. I'm not going to say it's going to be one up there, but there'll be a top 10 sack that comes from that area of the lake. I feel like everything's too healthy. There's been a lot of tournaments won from up there in the past month or so. So that area will be a player in this open. There's no doubt about that.
Top 3 baits, in your opinion, will be players in this event.
Oh Lord. And that's hard to say, Steve, because there's so many things playing right now.
Chatterbait would be one.
Chatterbait number 1. I'm gonna say a Carolina rig, a fluke style bait like a V&M pork shad, because it can be thrown shallow and deep. Those guys, there's gonna be a lot of guys throw that on and around the grass lines. There's gonna be an inside grass line bite. There's gonna be an outside grass line bite. Mainly an outside grass line bite. And they will throw that Carolina rig on that, and then you can throw it out deep on the point. So chatterbait and Carolina rig, I've just had more success with the pork shad and Gleason's candy. That's what I've caught. That's what I caught most of mine on Saturday. I've had more success with that style bait this time of year. So I'm gonna say chatterbait, Carolina rig. Man, the third one, I don't know. It's tough to say on that third one again because so many styles of fishing is going to go into effect. But I'll just say something in the grass, maybe a swim jig. Swim jig could definitely be a player.
Is the big worm coming into play yet? Is it time to pick up the big worm?
Some will. Again, you get on the right scenario. If it's a hard grass line or something, even the shallower brush piles, absolutely, that thing could come into play.
Right.
Again, Steve, there will be big sacks caught out deep. There will be big sacks caught shallow. There will be big sacks caught extremely shallow. In this event, they will be all of the phases will be covered in this event.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a big sack. I think it's going to take a really big sack to win this. I mean, a big sack. A really good consistent 3 days of fishing. On Sam Rayburn, a lot of times this time of year, we say somebody's going to have like 28 pounds and then back it up with a couple 18s. I think somebody's going to have to be consistently for 3 days be between 20 and 22. I would say 60. Again, it's 3 days. I'll just come out on a limb and say 61, 62.
And the weather prediction right now is supposed to be fairly stable. I know I'm headed for it's supposed to be sunshine Saturday. I think there's a 50% chance of rain at Rayburn, which probably means the same for Toledo Bend.
On Saturday.
So we could have partly cloudy on Saturday. Could be a little more cloud cover on Saturday, but the other 2 days, I mean, it's going to be beautiful weather to fish. And so they don't always equate to great days on a body of water, but as long as you got a little bit of wind and get the water moving, those guys should really rack them over there at Toledo Bend.
I think they will. I mean, it is stable conditions, and they'll have the same conditions throughout their whole practice. You know, kind of cool in the mornings, mid 50s in the mornings to highs of 75. And Steve, it's been like that every day of practice. So when you give guys of this caliber 5 days of practice with a body of water that's not really changing other than the water level just a little bit because of them generating, I think they'll be able to really focus in on what they want to do. Again, whatever they want to do, however they want to catch them, once they figure that out, figure out the locations or whatever, again, I think there will be some very good sacks caught, consistent sacks, though. Again, because nothing is changing, I think there will be some good, solid, consistent sacks that will end up winning this thing.
Local favorites, Kev. Who locally is in this event that we can kind of keep our eye on?
I mean, you got Daryl Gleason, and I'm a little partial with that, but he won it the last time it was here. He did win the Open, is his home lake. Now, look, this is a tough time of year for Daryl, for any local fishing this thing, because of everything that's going on. It's a very tough time of year to win a tournament of this caliber on your home body of water. But Daryl, number one, comes to mind. Again, he won the last Open that was at Toledo Bend. So he's got to be up there on your list. There's not as many local because of, and Steve, I'm one of these guys, man, the way this thing fell out and with my schedule, I would love to be fishing this week. And if they would not have the off limits that they have, I would have jumped in it. And a lot more locals, Cole Moore, Tater Reynolds comes to mind that are locals that no doubt would have fished this thing, Cody Pitt. But because all of them died on the lake, they can't take 5 weeks completely off work. That they cannot be on Toledo Bend. So, you know, back in, the off limits was mid-March. It started, off limits started. I forget exactly what B.A.S.S rules are, but I know it was a week or two before the V&M the post-shake tournament on Toledo Bend, so it had to be mid-March. Off limits started, so you could not have been on Toledo Bend from that time, mid-March, till last Saturday, this past Saturday. So that knocks a lot of your locals out because there's tournaments on Toledo Bend. I mean, there's been a bunch of very large tournaments on Toledo Bend these guys would have had to miss out on, and then a lot of the guides, you know, you're taking away saying they can't work. So
at the best time of the year for those guides.
Absolutely, especially these white perch guys like Cole Moore, like we were talking about. Cole's just now starting to get hot and heavy in the white perch game. White perch guys are just now really starting, so they got to trip every day. You can't give that up to fish the Open. So that's going to hurt it a little bit. And Steve, that's going to hurt it from a co-angler standpoint. Right now they're short for co-anglers for the Open. They need more co-anglers, but all the local guys here are not going to jump in because they've been fishing. That's where your co-anglers usually comes from, as you know. It's from the locals here that just want to jump in and go fishing. Well, they're not going to give a month. If they live on the lake or go lake, they're not going to give a month up worth of fishing to go be a co-angler in the Open. Exactly. So they're going to struggle finding some co-anglers with this new format they've kicked out.
All right, well, that's going to kind of wrap up Toledo Bend, and we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, I'm going to wrap up the Ray Scott National Championship on Red River. And again, all you guys, college series guys headed this way, high school guys headed to Natchitoches, Tune in, spread the word, because I'm fixing to give you some good details as to what's going on the Red River right now.
We fixing to flip-flop this around. I'm fixing to give the interview to you.
Yeah, there we go. And so we'll come right back after we recognize a few of our sponsors. Once again, you're watching Tackle Talk Live.
Are you looking for the finest custom-built rods ever made? Then look no further than Pride Rods. Fishing rods built to last and made in Montgomery, Texas. Constructed by Mr. Billy Kistler with the finest Gary Loomis North Fork composite blanks available. They offer a complete line of both spinning and casting rods for both fresh and salt water. Pride Rods do more than pass the eye test. They excel in performance as well. Ask your local tackle dealer if they carry Pride Rods and pick one up and try it for yourself. You'll see why so many anglers are using Pride Rods. To learn more, go to priderods.com or call 832-418-6040. The next time you're headed for Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn, stop by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle. They have an awesome supply of everything you'll need to catch the big ones. Whether your trip calls for bass fishing, white perch tackle, catfish bait, or the ultimate fighting shiners, Keith's Tackle has you covered. Keith and former Elite Series pro Ben Matsubu also have the latest information on what, how, and where you need to be fishing on Sam Rayburn or the Bend. So for all your tackle needs, check out Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, located just off Highway 21 on the Texas side of Toledo Bend, or call 409-625-0181. The Lakes Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency that has been taking care of Texans' insurance needs for over 25 years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, RV, life, health, and commercial insurance. Owner Clark Moore is a local guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs and wants to be your go-to guy for all your insurance needs. For a free quote, give him a call and see why so many Texans trust the Lake Insurance Agency. Located at 805 Southeast Stalling Suite 3, Nacogdoches, Texas, or call 936-205-4467. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
You're watching Tackle Talk Live. This segment presented by Pride Rods, Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, and the Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches, Texas. 2 locations. One on the shores of Broadus, Texas, over there on Sam Rayburn, and one in Nacogdoches. Check them out. Boat, house, truck, whatever you got, they got insurance to cover whatever you got, you're pulling or whatever you're driving. So check them out. Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches, Texas. All right, Kev.
Red River.
Scott. Yeah, the Red River. Real quick, I'll give the results of this. Toby Hartzell, former FLW pro. I don't think Toby's fishing anything on that level right now. Anyway, he won this event he's from Afton, Oklahoma. He had a 3-day limit of 15 fish, 5 fish every day. He had a total weight of 40.48 pounds, a little more than I thought would take to win. Most of us were thinking 12 pounds a day, which would put it around 36 pounds to win it. But he was consistent. He had 13.49 on day 1, 12.47 on day 2, and 14.52 on day 3. So, and from what I have been told by an angler that actually witnessed what he was doing, he had a current hole in pool 5 that he was catching the majority of his fish on, especially on the final day. He caught all 14.5 pounds out of that one spot and gave him the victory. And so congratulations to Toby Hartzell. He's the Ray Scott national champion. And it's basically a $100,000 win for him. So congratulations to him. Michael Allen from Clarksville, Texas. He had a total weight of 35.10. So Toby won it by 5 pounds. And Michael Smith from Andalusia, Alabama. He had 3 days of limits. He had 34.87. Joshua Cameron from Meridian, Mississippi had 32.17. Kevin Lazion from Dry Prong, our good friend, a V&M pro. Kevin had 31.37. He was said there was only two other guys with 3-day limits. And but Jody White was 6th from Shaftesbury, Virginia. And let's see here. No, I'm sorry. Otis Darnell was also from Virginia. The other guy, Jody White's from Vermont. Seventh place was Otis Darnell from Virginia. He had 28.51. Eighth place was Bradley Gardner from Georgia. He had 28.37. Ninth was Robert Anderson from Alba, Texas, over at Lake Fork. He had 20. He had the last limit. He had 28.29 for 3-day total. And 10th place, rounding out the top 10, was Brett Cartwright from Plattsburgh, New York. He had 10 fish for 25 or 28.11. So, but anyhow, that's kind of how
Steve, when you said the guy won it with some current fish, was that like Main River?
No, the Main River was just absolutely chocolate milk. This was a backwater hole or water, again, on pool. From what I was told, according to a good angler of ours that fished this event, pool 5, they were pulling water out of 5 on the third and final day. And he had a current spot coming out of backwater that the fish just literally stacked up on. There's a couple of about that. I don't know which one. If it was, it wraps around a jetty coming out of the backwater, and it's a spot where I know they will stack up. But for me, I mean, I fished pool 4 both days. Had a good day. One was in 15th going into the second day. I think we had 63, 64 in this event from around the country. Good turnout. I was in 15th after day 1, and the fish I had, it was a long run. I was burning $70 worth of gas a day down there and back. But it's what I had. It's what I knew. I knew the fish were there. I came in just right under 11 pounds on day 1. Like I said, I was sitting in 15th. But day 2, I went back down there again. You make all the excuses you want. There's just some days you set the hook, you get fish coming to the boat, and they just do not stay on for some reason. I don't know what was going on. The bite was different. The weather had changed on us. It got a little cooler. The rain had kind of quit, but it was still kind of drizzly. It was miserable. I'll be honest with you. The tournament was miserable weather. Every day was cold and rainy. It was tough conditions, to be honest with you. And but again, I had 2 fish on the second day. I should have had a solid limit again. I figured I'd had 11, right at 11 to 12 pounds again. And it just didn't happen. Don't know why. I felt better, Kevin. I watched Major League Fishing, the General Tire Team Series, and they were in Texas, and they had a stretch of guys. One of the teams, they were setting the hooks and getting them coming to the boat, and they were just coming off. And I thought, oh, okay. So it ain't just me it happens to. It happens to – you can't explain it. I mean –
no, you can't.
Second time you've been there, we've both been there. It's the second time it's happened to me this year. It happened to me on Rayburn earlier this year. Just could not keep them buttoned up, and I don't know why. Hooks, got great hooks, throwing the right baits, doing everything the right way. It's just some days it just ain't meant to be. I don't know, but right now, for the majority of that tournament, pool 4 was filling up. I actually checked with the lock and dams each day to see what they were doing with the locks, what are they doing with the levels. Pool 3 is the controller of the entire river system. That's what dictates everything. And I noticed every day coming back home, I drove back and forth, coming over the bridge at Grand Accor. It was way over the rocks by 3 to 5 feet. I mean, it was at the bottom of the sign, which is about 3 to 5 foot rise in Pool 3. But they never were pulling out of 4 the first 2 days that I was fishing. That water was always coming into the pools. And it just made fishing super tough in Pool 4. Looking back, even talking to Kevin Lazion, I wish I'd have spent more time in 5. I really do. I think that was the pool, obviously the pool to win it in. But the problem you had in 5 was it was so crowded.
Yeah.
When you finally found good, clean water, everybody was in there. And talking to some guys that fished in McDade and the White House, when they turned on, everybody in the pocket was catching fish all at one time. I mean, they said it was crazy. Exclusively, me and a guy from Oklahoma had it to ourselves. Nobody was making that run. It's an out-of-the-way pocket. You had to know how to get in it. You had to know how to get there. We were the only 2 boats in there. And he come out there with, I think, right at 9 pounds, and I've come out there with 11 pounds on day 1. There was still enough fish in there for both of us. I wasn't worried about splitting fish up. There was plenty of fish in there. But again, neither one of us, we both struggled on day 2. We both had a hard time keeping fish buttoned up. But again, if you're coming to Red River right now, chatterbait is absolutely doing great right now. Chartreuse and white, chartreuse. Even the spinnerbait bite was good on some days. My first day of spinnerbait bite was good. Second day, they wanted more of the chatterbait. They got off the blade for me in pool 4. Did a lot of flipping. Trick worm, black neon trick worm was another bait that caught a lot of fish on. Set the hook on a lot of fish. Got fish coming to the boat. Chopstick. I threw the chopstick. I threw it weightless. I wacky rigged it. Caught 3 of my keepers on day 1 on the wacky rig chopstick, and a black blue flake was the one I was throwing. Catching quality fish on it. So there were some days they wanted something moving, and then the next day they wanted something that wasn't moving. They wanted something sitting there fairly still, and that's when the chopstick kind of really came into play for me. But anyway,
Steve, if you're, so I know the next couple of weeks they've got some Bassmaster college and high school tournaments going on in Natchitoches right there in pool 3. So if you're a dad or anybody or listening to the show and they're coming in Natchitoches, most of the time you want to go to pool 4. How is pool 3 right now for anybody that wants to stay in pool 3?
Pool 3, again, it's high, it's muddy, and again, it's the pool controlling everything on the river. That's when they're going to pull water out of 4, 3 for me is the most inconsistent of all the pools. I mean, because the fish move on you so much in pool 3. That's why I like the lower end of 4, because the closer you are to the lock, the more steady the water is closer to the lock on the north side of the lock. And that's why the south end of pool 4, the north side of Lock and Dam number 4, that area right there, you've got the jungle, Little Jungle, you've got Sullivan's, you've got Red Oak. All those came into play for this tournament. Guys that went down to that made the run to those areas did well. And so pool 3, man, I tell you, that now, and people don't know this, there's more backwater in pool 3 than any other pool.
Yes.
All of them. And so you can find probably some clean water. It's just you got to deal with fluctuating water levels, probably more so in 3 than any other pool.
Right. How healthy were the fish? I mean, being Red River and everything it's going through, what's the fish look like?
The fish that I was catching, I mean, you were catching 14-inch fish that were solid 2-pounders. I mean, they were chunks. They were very well. They look good. They're feeding well. They evidently there's plenty of bait fish. The fish that I was catching were healthy, and that was good to see. Even in practice, a lot of guys were talking about how good the fish look. You know, you catch a 14-incher and he's a chunk. I mean, so I was glad to see that. A lot of the fish I saw weighed in were good, healthy fish.
Right.
And so it was. The river's on its way back. There's some vegetation, and you. If you find water house with some good clean water around it, I say cleaner. Again, on the river, I use that word clean loosely because you're looking for water that's just not muddy. A little stain to it, and you can punch. You can get bit doing some punching right now too.
Yeah. So the B.A.S.S. college, you said it was the first weekend of May coming up?
First weekend of May coming up this next May. So the college series comes here first. Then I think it's the junior division of B.A.S.S. comes, and then it's the high school division comes. They may be here about the same time. The May 7th, I know, is the date on those. And I think they're both here at the same time. So, but the college is here, I think, the week after that. So college comes after those.
To the guy that won it, Steve, having 14 pounds on the final day, that was what's most impressive to me on Red River. To your best bag me on the third day, that shows me signs that Red River is starting to come back.
Yeah, it is, and but you're right. I thought, in talking to Kevin Lazione, we both shared a lot of information together. The thing we both thought, 11. Actually, we thought that it was only going to take 10 to 11 pounds instead of 12 a day to possibly win it, because some guys were struggling to get bit. Now, they weren't locals and they weren't from this region. If you were from this region, you had a definite advantage over a lot of guys. But some guys figured them out in pool 5. And but I don't know. It's just overall, I think the fishing is definitely getting better. We don't need any more major floods. If the river will stabilize and continue to develop, you're getting a lot of vegetation. I actually found some hydrilla, believe it or not. There's some hydrilla coming back in some places. I was a little surprised to see that. And
in 5 or 4?
In 4. In 4, I saw some hydrilla coming back in certain areas. So I was glad to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But
okay. Well, good deal. Good deal. That gets all, I think that kind of gives them, the guys coming to, Red River for all the upcoming tournaments, kind of gives them something to start with and to go by. There's going to be a lot of changes on the river between now and then, but that definitely helps them get pointed in the right direction anyway, for sure.
And best advice I can give right now, Red River, anybody coming to Red River, I'm just telling you, if you're not stirring mud with your trolling motor, you're probably fishing too deep, because the fish that were being caught were shallow, shallow, shallow. You cannot get shallow enough a lot of times right now on Red River. And that could have been because the water was up and had those fish kind of pushed up a little bit. But I'm just telling you, the places I caught my fish, even in practice, I was stirring up mud with a trolling motor. And so keep that in mind. Lake levels real quick. Rayburn, I'm headed for Rayburn this week. It's 165.59. That's 1.19 feet high. It's a foot above pool right now. That's good. Good to know. Good to have fish. There'll be fish up into the trees, into the cypress trees and bushes. 10-day gain, it's came up 8.28 inches in the last 10 days. 24-hour gain, it's still on the rise, 1.2 inches on the rise at Rayburn. Toledo, 170.94. It's come down. It's 1.06 feet low right now. It's got a 10-day gain of 1.46 feet over the last 10 days. 24-hour gain is 0.36 inches. So it's still got water coming in, Kev, and evidently more water coming in than they're taking out right now. So, and Lake Fork, we keep giving Lake Fork. Guys keep asking about it. It's 401.9. Lake level, it's a difference of, it's 1.1 feet low. 10-day gain of 5.52 inches. 24-hour gain has actually been stable. 0 gain in the last 24 hours. So it may have peaked out and stabilized over at Lake Fork. So, but anyway.
That's interesting. I didn't realize the water level, it was still coming in faster on Toledo Bend. When did you pull those water levels?
That was just about 45, 50 minutes ago before we came on air.
That's interesting, because all that water, because I know there was a bunch of raindrops, so all of that water is still coming in. So, I mean, that again, but at some point they're still generating. They're going to keep generating. At some point they're going to get it back, starting to slowly fall a little bit. So that might happen right around tournament day. So that will change the fishing on those guys over there practicing for the Open.
Yep.
And, so interesting to see how this Open to me is one of the more interesting tournaments that comes to sleep in a long time, just because everything that is out there to play. It's going to be interesting to hear how it is won, and what exactly they're doing, what section or what fish they decided to target to win this thing. So,
I mean, one thing I know you didn't mention a while ago, but I know some guys with the shallow running crankbait. I mean, that could be a player this week as well over there at Toledo Bend.
It could be, yeah, absolutely. The whole tackle box is available to play at Toledo Bend, Steve. Yeah, the whole tackle box is put into play this week.
Right.
So,
successful crankbaits I've been of late. Even on the Red River, you guys looking to come to Red River, the Hybrid Hunter, the smaller one. Yeah, it's a great shallow hunter. It's perfect for Red River shallow water, especially when those fish are up shallow. That was a crankbait I was having success with in practice, and so keep that in mind. Yellow perch is usually the best color. Anything chartreuse and yellow bright is gonna get your attention, get fish attention on the river. So, but anyway. Coming up, ABA Open Series number 3 this weekend, Southeast Texas Division out of Castle Boykin. Then you got Kevin, what we got? Outdoor Outlaws.
The Outlaw Outdoors Team Series number 3 this weekend as well over there. It's a busy weekend in East Texas for sure. April 15th and 16th is the Brandon Belt. They're going to be up at Lake Palestine. So you got the Open, you got the ABA Open Series, you got Outlaw Outdoors on Rayburn this weekend, and then Brandon Belt up at Lake Palestine, which a bunch of people in this region is going to be traveling to. So a lot of tournaments going on this weekend. I mean, you can choose basically anything you want to fish and go fish it this coming weekend for sure.
April 22nd, next week, the BFL will be at Lake of the Pines. And also April 22nd, Texas Team Trail will be at Ray Roberts. And looking all the way into May, the Toyota Series is headed for Lake Eufaula, Oklahoma, May 11th through the 13th. So if you're fishing that up in Lake Eufaula, Oklahoma, I know there were some guys I fished against this week. A lot of those guys are headed up there to pre-fish for that. And
they got the MLF Invitational Series. I talked to Justin Cooper this morning. I was talking to him. They have that event. Today's day 2 of practice. I want to say they're going to start maybe Thursday, day 1 of that. So that'll be right there at Lake Eufaula as well.
And coming up, April 28th and 29th out of Lake of the Pines, the ABA Solo 150 had a great turnout for the last one. Had about 95 anglers turned out for and this will be event number 2 at Lake of the Pines. And so if you're looking to enter, deadline to enter. Now, guys, some guys missed it last time. Listen, it's the last Friday. It's April 21st at 5 o'clock. You must be entered the week before the tournament on that Friday before in order to qualify for this event. Entry fee is $600. So if you're looking to fish, make sure April 21st is the deadline for this event for Lake of the Pines. All right, Kev, anything else?
I think that wraps us up for today.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning us in. Please check us out on our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or our podcast. If you'd like to become a member of our sponsorship team, we'd love to have you. Please message us on our Facebook page. Kevin will get a packet out to you ASAP with all the details on how you can become a part of our sponsorship family. For Kevin Jean, yours truly, Steve Graff. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week with more Tackle Talk Live.